the text chain. So if you want to get through, you could. Oh, there we go. It's on YouTube. All right, let's run it.
Cool.
So
Brian, you ready to kick things off?
All right. Am I admitting people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just making sure.
Yo.
What's going on, everyone? We're going to let folks trickle in, and we're going to get started in the next minute or two. So thank y'all for being patient with us. We have a great evening planned, so thank y'all for being here. Nado, what's going on, brother? Good to see you.
Oh, what's up, Julian? Good to see you guys. Okay.
What's going on? Ronil, thanks for joining us tonight. I see Larry. I see Joe Lucky. Sean. Shout out to Sean. We're going to get started very, very soon. Who else we got on here? I see Goodness.
Oh my gosh, Kasa's decked out. He's got a chain
Kasa.
on.
Kasa ain't playing. He said, I'm coming to the virtual event. We ain't playing. Let's see. All right. We're going to give it maybe one more minute, and we're just going to jump in, and we'll let folks trickle in. So be mindful of all of your Zoom functionality. I think everybody's pretty aware of Zoom. We'll say it throughout the evening tonight. Be sure to use your chat box window. If you guys have questions, comments, opinions, you should see all of the different participants. So if you want to ping somebody directly, you can. Or if you have any logistical questions, Candace and Mina, go ahead and wave. They will be available to help y'all out. All right. Candace, hello. And yeah, feel free to use the chat box to, if something resonates, if something is stirring in you, feel free to share, because we want this to be an interactive evening. All right. So we're going to get started. All right. This is super exciting. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first ever virtual speaker series brought to you by the We Don't Know Yet podcast and CB Management Solutions. My name is Brian Bulaya. I'm one of the co-hosts on the podcast. Super excited to jump into this conversation tonight. So our panel discussion tonight revolves around the strategy for personal growth, how to stop wasting time and focus on what matters most. The goal tonight is to talk to 3 top performers within business innovation and civic impact to highlight habits and techniques that will help us all identify purpose and promote growth in our personal and professional lives. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention what a beautiful way to close out Black History Month. We're going to elevate Black excellence in the workplace as well as in our community. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our project team and our esteemed panelists. So first and foremost, you all know me. I want to introduce Nsima and Mina. Nsima is the podcast co-host, and Mina is our social media manager. Go ahead and wave, Nsima. And Candace Brooks is the owner of CB Management Solutions, which is an event marketing company. And we are super, super excited to bring y'all this event tonight. So with that, we are going to present our panelists. So Lewis jumped on first tonight. So we wanted to start off with Chris. So we're going to start off with Chris and introduce Christopher Johnson. So Chris Johnson is the founder and CEO of Rapid Brands Incorporated. His leadership and strategic execution has led Rapid Brands to become the fastest growing microwave cookware company in the country. A fun fact about Chris is that he appeared on ABC's hit show Shark Tank. Y'all all know Shark Tank. And he secured an on-air deal with one of the GOATs in business, which is the Dallas Mavericks owner, Mark Cuban. So along with Rapid Brands Incorporated, Chris is also the founder and CEO of the Johnson Group, which is a corporate recruiting company, and founder of Major Views Marketing, an influencer marketing company. So Johnson is also serves as a mentor and business owner for the Chris Johnson Company Incorporated, and provides coaching to generate success and profitability for entrepreneurs. So Chris, thank you so much for being here today.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. We're going to move on to our second panelist, Lewis Stewart. So Lewis is currently the head of strategic initiatives for NVIDIA's global developer ecosystem. In his role, he was responsible for working with minority-serving institutions, government entities, industry partners, and a variety of affinity groups to build relationships that enable an increase in tech preparedness, grow the overall developer base, and foster a more inclusive artificial intelligence community. Prior to his role at NVIDIA, he was the City of Sacramento's first Chief Innovation Officer and Deputy Director of Innovation, Deputy Director of Innovation and Entrepreneurship in the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development. So a fun fact about Lewis is that he grew up in France and Italy, and he played professional basketball in Peru and in Belgium. So Lewis, thank you so much for being here.
All right, it's a pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. And last but not least, I want to introduce our third panelist, Mobi Akugo. So Mobi is a professional soccer player, entrepreneur, media host, and philanthropist who has been recognized as a Forbes 30 Under 30 recipient. Mobi was drafted in the first round of the 2010 MLS Super Draft and has since played over 200 competitive games for teams including Philadelphia, Orlando, Kansas City, Portland, and Austin. He is the founder of A Frugal Athlete, an online financial media platform that promotes prudent financial practices and smart career decision amongst professional athletes and student athletes. And he's also the founder of the OKUGO Foundation, and that helps provide resources and opportunities to children from low-income backgrounds through athletic, educational, and social programs. So Mobi enjoys reading, hiking, flying his drone, and hosting trivia nights. So Mobi, thanks for being here.
No, pleasure's all mine. Thank you for having me.
So I'm going to give you all a quick overview of the evening before we jump into our question portion of the evening. So Nsima and I will start off with a facilitated Q&A with our panelists. Afterwards, we'll move into a community-led Q&A. So feel free to use your chat box window. If y'all have any questions, Candice will actually be picking some of the different questions from the chat box, and she will promote them to our panelists. And after we close, we really want you guys to stick around. We're going to have some breakout rooms where we can recap our conversation tonight and also be able to network, because during COVID, it's super hard to network with folks. So we feel like this is a really good opportunity for folks to connect one to another. So everybody should see your chat box window. Feel free to use reactions. Be mindful that we are in a virtual space. So if any glitches happens, we'll just push through it. And feel free to use Candice and Mina to your disposal, or there's an opportunity. If you guys have any logistical assistance, they'll be able to help y'all out. All right. So with weird word, hey, I'm just learning how to speak. I'm learning how to speak. So thank y'all for bearing with me. All right, y'all. So with all that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Nsima. Go ahead and kick off our Q&A.
So yeah, what's up, guys? Really happy that you guys took the time out of a Friday night, because you could be out there having some COVID fun in a club or in a bar, but you're here tonight trying to figure out how you can become more fulfilled in what you do. I know I struggled with that with like work in the past, and I had a lot of jobs that I hated. So the awesome thing about these panelists is that we're going to be trying to figure out some strategies that they use to be able to find purpose and fulfillment in terms of what they do. So we're going to dive into it. The way that we're going to go ahead with this is we're going to ask these questions. We're going to have Lewis answer first, then Chris, then Mobi, and we're going to keep it running. Like Brian said, if you guys have any questions, handle them in the chat box. And then afterwards, we're going to be able to answer all those questions for you guys. So let's just start this off with Lewis. If you can you describe your role and what have you found to be the most fulfilling aspect about what you do currently?
Yeah, absolutely. So at NVIDIA, as the head of
So looks like you're on mute. There you go.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for unmuting me. As the head of strategic initiatives for the developer ecosystem at NVIDIA, the big part of my job is to figure out how we get a more diverse audience, a more diverse customer set, right? NVIDIA has 2.3 million developers on the platform already. NVIDIA is known for gaming. Well, we need more people that look like us, that look like the world around us, in order to decrease bias in AI, in order to get a more robust startup ecosystem that's using artificial intelligence, things like that. So my job is to go out and talk to HBCUs, Hispanic serving institutions, and try to bring in a new diverse set of developers. And if they're not ready, then we're working with organizations to actually scale them up. So the most rewarding part about the job right now is being able to walk into a conversation now virtually and introduce what it is that we're doing, and offer the opportunity to train people up. And if people take me up on that offer, we line them up with coursework. We co-develop coursework.
Oh,
with
try the lentils, the Mongol.
Yeah.
Hella good.
And then we're just trying to build up the base a little bit, and it's awesome working at this company because everybody jumps in to help. Actually launching a new series called AI Making X Better that's going to feature women and people of color that are doing big things at NVIDIA, that launches later this month, so that we can actually get the word out there about the great stuff that the diverse workforce that we have is doing, and introduce new people to artificial intelligence.
All right, and Chris, you can go up next.
So a little bit about what I do and the most rewarding. That's the question, right, Nasima?
Yes,
so I serve as the CEO. I'm an entrepreneur. Built several companies. I love being an entrepreneur. It has its adversity, its trials, but man, it definitely has its blessing. And I know so many people have ideas to start businesses, and I think one of the biggest things that propelled me, I remember my grandfather asked me, "Hey, what's the richest land in the world?" And I said, United States. He said, no. I said, China. He said, no. I said, Grandpa, give up. What's the richest land in the world? And he said, the graveyard, because that's where so many people died with great ideas in them that they never got out. And I said, you know what? I'm going to make sure that I always get it out. And so the small idea that I had that led to, has been an amazing journey is the rapid ramen cooker. So I actually invented that. Now I have 15 patents, but that was the first one. And I love that that's the first one because it's so simple. It's a square shaped bowl that makes perfect ramen noodles in the microwave. And with that action has led to so many amazing things. And, we'll get into it, but like, there's such a big cost of inaction that people don't even know that this idea, this thing that you want to leap with, there's a cost to it. There's a cost for you not going. And so, man, it hasn't been this type of journey, but I tell you, like the most rewarding things, number one is being able to, I never knew that the square shaped bowl would turn into 24 products, deal with Disney, deal with Nickelodeon, 22,000 square foot warehouse with awesome employees, great leadership team. And then blessing the lives of other entrepreneurs that had the idea, that may have saw me on Shark Tank and that had ideas, but just don't know what's the next steps to be successful. And that has gone into bigger, opportunities. I'm rewarding thing that came out of it. I'm partnering with Amazon, $10 billion initiative to bring Black entrepreneurs on Amazon Fresh. And I'm leading that initiative. I didn't know that when I was with the square shaped bowl, right? And one of the brands that I'm bringing on is Ellis Island Tea, who Kevin Hart just invested in that company, and we're launching that in April. Another reward is my kids. My son that goes to Sheldon, plays basketball. He had a joke book, created a joke book, selling on Amazon, and CVS picked it up. And it's in 2,000 CVS stores. Bruh. And just that one order was enough to pay for 4 years of college, right?
Let's go.
Okay, so it's like rewards, man. My daughter, Chloe, she's 13. And she said, hey, Dad, did you see that your ramen cooker's on TikTok? I'm like, tell me about this TikTok thing. And I see 500,000 reviews. And I'm like, how did this happen? Can you do this on purpose? Hired her. And now she's starting a social media company. She's generated 40 million views on TikTok, and influencers, over 300 influencers pushing the sales. And it's like, that's the reward. And who would ever thought on that one action? So I love what I do, man. There's trials and tribulations, but the blessings are immense. And so that's my most rewarding aspect of being an entrepreneur and building businesses.
Dude, that's insane. Thanks for letting us know that. And Mobi, let's hear it, man.
I'm gonna have to follow Lewis and Chris the whole night. It's gonna be tough.
It's what it is.
No, but so for me, being a professional soccer player, it's been a journey. And see, man, you know me since we were this small, but the fact that I've been able to, use sports as a vehicle to travel all over the world, meet so many different people that I wouldn't have met, growing up. I'm first generation Nigerian American. So our vacations were my soccer tournaments. We didn't go to Disneyland or Magic Mountain. It was like, if you win this tournament in San Diego, make it to the finals, then you play till Monday. So that was kind of our motivation. So, by the time I reached my sophomore year of high school, I had already traveled to 5 different countries. And, by the time I actually went pro, 20, 30 different countries, in soccer and sports gave me that opportunity. And then from then, continuing my professional career, soccer gave me the opportunity to, increase my education. I had the fortunate pleasure of going to UCLA, convinced my parents that are big on education to leave school early, promised them I would finish my schooling, which I did, and got even my master's while playing. So I'm very thankful to have had the opportunity and career that I had. But outside of that, a frugal athlete, being able to, I my sport to give me opportunities long after my career is over. My dad always said, the minute I got drafted, he said, you're closer to the end of your career than the start of it. And I was like, just typical Igbo dad. I was like, well, thanks. I guess, I'll like put it in perspective, but it taught me that, business lasts way longer than my legs can. So I started a couple businesses. I've always been interested in the side hustles. And that's what it's all about with the frugal athlete, kind of helping athletes leverage their capital and their career to live a life well spent long after their career is over. So, I talked to Chris, actually earlier, maybe last fall or late summer. And he does his mentorship. He helped me out with some different things about how I can look around my business. And Lewis mentioned he used to play professional basketball. I'm sure he used a lot of his skills to translate to what he does now. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do. And it's been a blessing, and I hope I can continue to do that.
That's beautiful. Thanks, Mobi. So just hearing like what all three of you are doing within your respective industries is, I think, already like really enlightening for a lot of us who are kind of early stage in our careers, or really have that dream of like, how do I get to that stage? How do I cross that chasm? So the conversation today is all about focusing on what matters most, because we think that there's sort of an underpinning, right, of you need to know your purpose. You need to know what you're driving towards in order to really bring that to fruition. So the question I have, and Mobi, we're going to actually start with you this time, and then we'll work our way back, right? So how do you define purpose, and how is that shown within your work?
Perfect. So luckily I have my journal with me. So purpose for me, it's not about what you do, it's about who you are, so what gets you out of bed. And, for me, soccer's fun, but that doesn't define me. So for me, I'm all about being the first generation, oldest of 4 siblings. I'm all about family. So how can I leave what I'm doing and leave that legacy? Someone told me back in the day, when you look back on your life, do you want to be a warning or do you want to be an example? So I try to be an example in everything I do, try to create impact and try to, further my family name. So that's what my purpose is all about. I think I take a responsibility, just being the oldest of 4 siblings. I might be too hard on myself, but not as hard as, how it was my dad coming from Nigeria or my mom coming from Nigeria. So I put all that in perspective and just keep pushing through.
Awesome. Thanks. Chris, you're up next.
So I got a little different take as it relates to purpose, and it's a different way that for me, as far as the way that I got there. Prior to purpose was I wanted to be successful. Like I had a goal of what I wanted to achieve, and I didn't know as far as, I knew I had some skill sets, and I was using my skill sets in entrepreneurship to become successful. And no one will describe success in any same way. For me, it's being able to do what I want, with who I want, when I want, and not having any financial things in the way of that. So that was really important for me. And then after having that goal of like what I want for success became joy. Like I want to make sure that anything that I'm doing, that I can have happiness on the journey. Because I get excited about Mondays. If you're dreading going in on Monday, you are in the wrong spot, And so I feel like the happiness and the joy along the journey is so important. Now, it doesn't mean that you're not going to have adversity, but man, you shouldn't hate what you do. Okay. So that's really important for me. I feel like purpose, so what the success part is what I do for my family, right? I want to bless my wife and my kids. Purpose for me is what you do outside of that, what the type of impact that you do for the world, right? And for others that are outside your family. And so I found that along the way, man. I found along the way that I really love seeing the success of other people. I love seeing that, I got this thing. One of my goals is called 0 to a billion. I've been really good at scaling an idea or a business from 0 to $1 million in sales and above really quickly. And so I was like, man, I can do this for others. And so I was like, man, my goal is, this is where I found my purpose. My goal is to help the knowledge, the relationships that I have, the proximity that I have, to help people, especially people that look like me, become successful in their businesses, right? And if I could help 1,000, it's called 0 to a billion. If I can help 1,000 people hit $1 million or more, 1,000 times a million is $1 billion. I want to have that much of an impact. So that's my purpose. So what I had to do with Rapid Brands started from the Rapid Ramen, and it was Rapid Brands just to make food faster. It has changed now that Rapid Brands means that we build and scale brands rapidly. Someone brings us an idea, we're scaling that. And so I'll use an example, Chuka Torres, Rich Barber. He came to me I used to coach him when I was at UC Davis, and I was the athletic director for the Boys and Girls Club. And he was one of these kids, and I always mentored him. And he became a barber, and he had the courage. Everybody in there, always, wanted to get some game and learn about entrepreneurship, but Chuka took it on. And I remember him continue to mentor him, and now he has 3 patents. His business did over $1 million in sales last year, and that's from barbering and opening up barbershops and creating. And so now I got 999 more to go. And so that's where I found my purpose along my journey, but it was success, joy, and then now it's in that purpose filled journey. And I think everybody's a bit different. I do feel like some people go for purpose they struggle at times of having the success and happiness because they're not getting some of that success. So I think everybody's different in that journey, but for my journey, that's how my journey has gone.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and jump in. Because I think a lot of my purpose is going to sound a lot like Mobi and a lot like Chris. On my social media, I say that I cannot be successful without helping somebody else be a success, and so that's kind of in line with what Chris was just saying. Understanding that basketball gave me the tools to be successful at stuff is like Mobi with soccer. I didn't make it to the league. That was my younger brother. I made it overseas, but okay, so now being an introvert, how does basketball translate to being out in public, talking to folks, interacting with everybody? And how then do I translate my knowledge to actually help my kids and kids that look like my kids be successful, right? So a lot of that came into frame for me when I started working for the DMV of all places back in 2007. I was the first high-ranking Black appointee in a while, since the director like 20 years earlier. And the Black folks at the DMV started circling around like, "Hey, Lewis, what are you going to do? Hey, what are you going to do?" And that was really the first time I had to look externally and figure out how to help people, and as opposed to just doing stuff for myself and my family. And so to this day, take on interns, mentor folks, try to connect the dots for people as much as possible. It's probably not in as much of an organized way as Chris is doing with his mentorship. But, since leaving the city of Sacramento 5 months ago, I probably have had about 50 calls with people in and around Sacramento trying to figure out how to get stuff done, whether it be with the city or connect into networks that were created and people know that I'm in. So really the purpose for me is how do I help people be successful in what they do? And try to influence outcomes the best way possible. My kids, they're definitely not following my footsteps, regardless of how much I try to drag them along. But if I can have an impact on a group of kids around, young people, going through college and trying to figure out what their next steps are, happy to jump in and mentor, happy to jump in, review resumes, happy to connect. It's amazing, really, the speed at which this stuff is happening, thanks to social media, thanks to LinkedIn, thanks to all that stuff. People just reach out and ask questions and, try to be responsive and answer. But really, the purpose is trying to help people out. And so, doing that in the job now, and trying to find new ways. But I just want to give a shout out to James that joined, my brother-in-law. What's up, James?
Hello.
Hey. When I was in college, I really wish that I had some people to help me figure out what I was going to do, because I feel like at that time I did waste a lot of time. Because now with what I do in health and fitness, it doesn't have anything to do with what I was doing over there. So when I was in college, I had a lot of jobs I didn't like, and I had a few things that I really liked that made me absolutely no money. All right. So I'm wondering when you guys were maybe in the stages when you knew kind of what you wanted to do, but it wasn't making you income. How did you take the time, and what did it look like in those days when that was your side hustle? And how did you turn that into what you do? What did your days look like? How much work did you have to put in? What did you have to sacrifice? And I think, Lewis, we'll just pop it back to you and then go to Chris and Mobi.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like in college, scholarship to Santa Clara. I was on the squad, didn't really play. I needed to figure out what the hell I was going to be doing. Right? Got into an argument with the coaches, left school early, worked at Macy's, sold watches, sold fine jewelry, sold, whatever I needed to do so I could pay the bills. My side hustle at that time was actually playing basketball. So for 2 years, jumped around the circuit here in the States and got the opportunity to go play down in Peru. And that kind of catapulted me into a whole bunch of other stuff. Uh, then, coming back injured, I was literally in a line for employment at Fry's Electronics, which I just heard is going out of business. Bright red hair. People looked at me like I was Rodman. Yeah, I see that look. and I was just trying to get a job in the warehouse, so I could have insurance, so I could get my knee fixed. And this dude pulled me out of line and was like, hey, do you own a computer? Yep. He says, can you sell them? Yep. Never had I done that before. Just bought a computer the week before. And next thing I know, I'm on the line at Fry's selling computers, moving up the ladder, rolled into a whole IT career just based off of being able to say yes, right? And so, none of this was making me money, none. And then working 13 years for the state and the city, working for government, you're not making any money. You just building up the social capital to actually make moves and help people. Oddly enough, I'd probably say I made more people money than I was making with some of the advice that I was giving. And that just goes back to trying to help people out. I'm hoping now that I'm with NVIDIA, I can actually catch up on some of the years that I was struggling. And try to see. But the side hustle now is the giving advice. Is the mentorship, is the necessary stuff to actually build up a population, especially Black folks. So,
Nasima, can you ask that question again? I just want to make sure I'm clear so I can add value to that. Go ahead and give that to me.
It seems a lot of people are in a space where like maybe they're working a job that maybe might be making good money, might be not, but it's not something that they like. It's not something they're interested in. It doesn't follow their purpose. And a lot of people maybe know their interest and know what their purpose is and they're doing something with it, but because of the demands of what they're doing currently, they're not able to put their all into their actual purpose. So I just want to know of a time that maybe you might have been in that stage, or strategies for individuals that like things that you think that they should be doing to be able to turn that purpose, that side hustle, into what they do as their main form of work.
Well, I'll answer it in the frame of this because I think a lot of people have this that are working professionals, but they have some entrepreneurial aspirations that they wanna build their own company and go after this purpose or this calling that they want to do as far as that. And here's what I say to a lot of people is, give up leisure to start building that business. So if you think about it, you're only working for 8 hours at your current job. You get off at 5, sacrifice leisure to go build that thing, right? So 5:30, 6 o'clock, go start building that thing. And the goal is you don't leave your current job until that side hustle exceeds your income for a period of 4 months. After it exceeds your income for a period of 4 months, your job is in the way. So many people underestimate what they can do when you throw your whole self at something. Like we're so creative. Like how many people do you know that has 4 or 5 different businesses and has this nonprofit and have this? So many of us have all these little things, and so what happens is our attention is diluted. If you take all those things and point it at something, oh my God, you will scare yourself of how big that thing could be. And so at that point, it's time to leap. that side thing that you're doing, it's time to leap. And when it exceeds your income for 4 months, you gotta have that faith and jump. You gotta have that faith and jump. And so many people are just scared. And you know what it is? What I realize is that it's not fear, it's doubt. So many people are not, fear just kicks your front door open, but doubt creeps in the side window. And so when doubt comes in your head, it's reasonable. And so it's like, man, we don't really need to go that hard. Man, we have to spend, some time, we have to have some fun. It's do you really want to go that hard at that business? What if it doesn't work? And so doubt is the real killer to people's dreams, because it's reasonable. You think it's your own thought. And so it's having that faith, man, that build that thing, sacrifice the leisure until that thing grows to exceed your income, then go after it. What do you have to lose?
Just real quick, just real quick. That doubt thing that Chris is talking about is for real, right? So I've had many entrepreneurial ideas, but talked myself out of it. Instead, I threw myself into my work, right? And so I was sacrificing the leisure to build the capital in the other places, but not build my own capital. And that's what the doubt got me. And so now it's really trying to figure out how to leverage the past 13, 17 years of work into something different.
Yeah,
I
sacrificing
think
leisure.
that seizure, there's a big piece that Lewis mentioned in there, guys. I think is so big. I see so much talent that if that talent was directed to building wealth in a business that is going towards that person and their family, it would be over. I see so many, like even some of my friends that have more articulate than me, more talented than me, but doubt consumes them. And so it's exactly what Lewis said. Like, it's that same talent, but if it's applied to bless you and your family, it could be huge.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mobi.
Yeah, just to touch on it from the athlete perspective, I think they brought up a bunch of great points, and it's a reason why a lot of athletes struggle with their transition, because obviously you've come from a place where kind of everything's handed to you. You don't have to worry about insurance. You don't have to worry about getting paid on the 1st and the 15th. Like, these things are all happening. But when you step into that next phase and you miss a couple paychecks and you got to pay out of pocket for your own insurance, you want to do like the next best thing, the most stable thing, because we've been in a stable situation. So the year I was a free agent, it was like, okay, I mean, I can work and be comfortable, or I could be uncomfortable and like really diving onto this business venture. And fortunately for me, I gave myself a nest egg. A lot of people talk about, burn the boats, but at least have a raft for when you do burn the boats. A lot of people talk about entrepreneurship. I'm more of the intrapreneur. So I do like that stability. That's just how I was built. So I want to build my stability first. So just in case, and like that fear versus doubt balance that Luis and Chris both talked about, it's a real thing. It doesn't matter how high you are, how low you are, that's a real thing. So for me personally, it was like, all right, now I have my nest egg. I have like my life jacket just in case. Now I can kind of go all in on a full athlete. So that's my perspective. I've been in kind of a unique situation because I still have the career from a soccer standpoint, but from the business standpoint, it's like, I was playing defense for so long, but now it's time to get on offense. When you play defense, you're so reactionary to what other people are going to say, what people are going to do. But when you're on offense, you're putting the pressure on other folks. And when you play offense, Steph Curry, he'll shoot 3 for 17, but fourth quarter, he's still going to shoot, and they win the game, or they're down by 10, 2 threes, they're back in the game. So, I'm much more of a fan of being on offense than waiting for someone to punch me in the face and go from there.
Real quick on that, just that. Thank Mobi. That's great stuff. In that, yes, I'm telling you what Mobi's talking about, and I alluded to it with the 4 months. But that nest egg, there's a whole different thing of being cash confident. When you're cash confident, when you go ahead and put away six mortgage payments, and then it turns into 12 mortgage payments, and you know that I don't need to make another dime, I can pay my mortgage or my rent for the next 12 months. That's that cash confidence that also helps you leap. The other thing I want to mention is this, is that there's professionals on here that love their job, that love their purpose. I have a great team that they wouldn't dare to think about, entrepreneurship. They love building businesses, being a part of that as an entrepreneur. But the point I want to make is for those who, who you are, you've been sitting on your dreams, you've been sitting on that, that idea, you've been sitting on that. One of the quote I sent to my kids is this, and I forgot where I got it, but it said, salary is the drug they give you for you to forget your dreams.
Hey, say that one more time, please.
Salary is the drug they give you so you can forget your dreams.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You all mentioned something really key, right? So, Mobi, I love how you mentioned building a raft, having that nest egg. Chris, how you're mentioning, along with Lewis, how we should be sacrificing leisure and sacrificing doubt. But a lot of folks, when they're hearing this, are like, yeah, that sounds great, right? But I got this mortgage, I got this, I have kids, I have all these different responsibilities, and we're in the midst of COVID. So mentally, I just can't take on one more thing. Realistically, I can't just do one more thing. So the question I have for you all is, in 2 minutes, could you provide some like pragmatic, maybe 2 or 3 actions or habits that somebody could implement that might help them take their present and move it into the future? How can somebody move from where they are right now? Maybe that might be stagnant, dealing with a whole bunch of different things, and actually actionalize some of this information today.
Okay. If I can go first on that real quick. Here's the first thing. Everybody on this thing has some blessings and burdens in their life. Every single person. And no one is immune to that. No matter how successful you get, we always going to have blessings and burdens. So if that's the case, nothing should stop us from making sure that we're pursuing what we want to pursue. The first thing that I would give is identify your championship. And what that means is like really identify what you want. So many of us don't even know fully what we want. Use the basketball analogy. At the end of the game, you see the dudes crying, they're holding the trophy, their family comes on, that championship. What's that championship for you? Like, what's in that? And everybody's different. It's, man, I want to be able to buy that home. Man, I want to be able to bless that church or that nonprofit. Whatever is that drives that emotion in you as far as identifying your championship. Identify your championship. Like every single year between Christmas and New Year's, I take a personal retreat with myself and say, hey, Chris, what do we want? I talk to my wife, what do you want? What, like, I build that championship. Some people call it dream board. It's the real stuff that you really, really want. And then after you identify that championship, then you make an audit of your vehicles. Is my present job going to get me to this vehicle? I mean, to this championship. So many people have all these different vehicles, 7 streams of income and all that. So they get in one car, they drive, then they get out that car, they get in another car, and or they jump, right? All to get to that dream. You got to identify if that vehicle that you're in is the one that gets you to that dream, or is it this thing that you really been wanting to do? And and that's where we said that, where Nasima said the side hustle, where you drive that car until that thing is now moving, right? The next thing about that is it's not just about the destination and the championship. The vehicle that you pick, don't pick something that's a beater, that just drains you, stresses you out. working with people that you hate, right? You got there. So many people get there, and then it's like, man, like, this is it, right? So when you're going, make sure you're in a vehicle that you love. Like, a Mobi, probably even while getting paid, you would play soccer, you love it. Like, entrepreneurship, I love it. Like, pick the vehicle that you love as you're on that journey, but figure out what you really, really want first. Most people don't even know what they want, so they just drive aimlessly. So I think that's the first step, and then those are the steps that follow.
Yeah, I'll jump in. You know, I think because this is one of you guys' other questions that we had is lead with yes, right? So 2020 offered up a huge opportunity for people to figure out if they're on the right bus, and that goes to what Chris is talking about. Figure out if you're in the right place. Take a hard look at where you are, and decide if you're on the right bus, if you're riding with the right people, if whatever it is, just figure that out, right? And then look for the opportunity within the opportunity, because doors always open. And a lot of times we don't take a second to look in and see if something's there, you know, and that would be the advice that I give. You know, the leading with yes. You know, yeah, sometimes it may feel like you're taking on a whole bunch of stuff, but you may be able to find, you know, what your purpose is. You may be able to find something you really like. I mean, there's a whole lot if you just say yes for a second, take a deep breath, and take that leap. That Chris was talking about on the entrepreneurship side, but that goes with your career, that goes with your life, period. And doors open for a reason. At least take a look in. You got to learn something. You got to figure something out about yourself. I mean, you know, and that's honestly been my whole career, because I'm one of those people that probably still hasn't figured out what my championship looks like, but I'm still going along the journey. And you know, with each phase of my career and of my life, you know, find the new opportunities in the opportunities that I step into. So
now, these are all great points. I think for me, you know, we talked, Brian, you mentioned COVID, you know, and there's a lot of people, as unfortunate as it may sound, I don't want to be insensitive, but a lot of people did very well this past, you know, year, because they were able to, you know, provide a solution to a problem. And for me personally, I think the biggest thing is, you know, fail forward. You know, you could be on the sidelines cheering or, you know, making comments, you know, I could have done that. I could have done that. I know there's plenty of people that say, I could have scored that goal, or I had that idea too, but, you know, the people that actually did it were, you know, playing the game. So fail forward. Even if it doesn't work out, you're going to, as Lewis said, you're going to find a pathway by doing that leads you to your next thing, that leads you to your next thing, that ultimately where you get that win. I think someone by the name of Dale Meltzer, he always says, how many no's are you willing to take till you get your first yes? And I think for me, that's kind of been my mantra, because if I fail, I'm the only one that's going to know. You know, people can be on the sidelines, like they won't know, but those overnight successes that we hear about, we only hear about that that win. So fail forward. That's probably my spiel.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. So many great responses. I want to give some light to all the questions that we're getting in the chat. So Candace, feel free to take the floor and select some of the questions that folks have so the panelists can answer. And maybe we'll just have one panelist answer each question.
All right, y'all. This was dope because typically I'm over here managing the chat, but I'm over here engaged and all that. Like, yeah, that part. So again, many thanks for all of these nuggets. So we have a few questions. Going in, we'll start with Ro asked a question based on the first. Wait, hold on. Sorry, my bad. Give me 1 second. No, we're going to go back to this one. So Candace with an A, sister name, not me, but the other one. She had a question. What are some of the ways that doubt can be redirected to produce courage and confidence? So kind of going back to that question. I'll say it again. What are some ways that doubt can be redirected to produce courage and confidence?
I would say that you got to kill doubt. It's the enemy. And the way that you do it is understand you're not the first one that had that fear and doubt before they leaped and did it. There's so many other cases, I mean, that had the success with going with that. What I say is do it anyway, and that faith will continue to fuel you, right? Even on this journey, even when you start, there's so many exit routes on that journey where you're like, dude, I quit. I am done. I've had some failures along this journey that I was literally crying my eyes out, right? And it's like, doubt is not just at the beginning, it's throughout to get you to quit. And so you still have to remain faithful. Like, hey, if I can do this. Like you're only done when you quit. But if you just keep it moving, just keep the legs moving, that's where you have success. So just execute. That's how I say execute with faith.
Yep, that's about it. Another question, second question. For those who are like late bloomers and don't know their purpose, what advice would you give them to discover purpose? Thank you, Sean, for this question.
Yeah, Sean, I think it goes back to what I was just talking about, man. Just go through those open doors and look for the opportunity between the opportunity, and while stuff may seem heavy, start saying yes to stuff, and things will come. I promise. If you're quick to say no, if you're quick to throw doubt and quit, you'll be kind of stuck in the same place for a while. But if you lead with yes, look for the opportunity within the opportunity, and then walk through the door.
And I think this is kind of a two-part question. Well, it's two individual questions, but I think they're in the same realm. Can you share a loss that you overcame through your entrepreneurial journey? And what are some mental tricks and practices to snap out of the funk that may come from those? Or just in general, the funk?
Mobi, do you want to take that or you?
Nah, I'll let you take it for sure.
Okay.
I think actually both of you can handle that one. Yeah.
So I'm gonna be vulnerable here. I'm gonna give you one of my biggest losses, okay? And it started with a biggest success. So I'm building this business. I call my wife. Me and my wife yesterday was 27 years together. We've been together since I was 14 years old. So that's my girl, right? I'd say, hey, I just closed this major deal with Walmart. I told her, I said, hey, you gotta come down to the office. And she's like, what? Everything's okay? I said, everything's fine. I go to my controller. I said, hey, go ahead and cut this check. Put it in an envelope. My wife comes and I meet her down outside the building of my office. I was on Capitol Mall. And she been it when we had nothing, okay? So I hand her this envelope. In the envelope, she opens it, and it's a check for $1 million to us. She starts crying. I start crying. And it was like, man, the dream, like we made it. And, we go deposit it in the bank. The bankers are coming out. Like now we're like, oh, take us to this room. And like, it was overjoyed. Here's a mistake that I made. I didn't understand inventory and how inventory affects your supply chain and your business. So when I did the deal with Walmart, it was for back to school. And so I had over 4,000 stores, tons of product. And I asked the buyer, I said, hey, can we also get Christmas? And she was like, it's a possibility. So I had my manufacturer make $1 million more for Christmas. Because I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to get it. And if I don't, we're going to sell them anyway because it's hot. So we have a great back to school, and I didn't get the Christmas deal. Well, now I have 1 million units of over inventory coming to our warehouse. I got to pay the freight. I got to pay this. I had to take 3 months later, I had to take the $1 million back and put it back in the business as a loan. And there was so many, it was disheartening. Now I own the business, but just and so it was painful. It took 5 years to even just get past that pain. And there's still some residue of that mistake. Well, what did I learn from that mistake? Okay. Like this is the learnings. Like you got to profit from every mistake that you made. I wanted to profit from it. So what was the learnings from this? What I realized when you're first starting out in a business, it's all about the grind, the hustle, you know, all the stuff they tell you about. But they didn't tell me about this. It's even bigger on how you hire the people around you. Because I was still hiring good people that were practicing on my business. I didn't have who I have now, a director of supply chain that's been doing it for the last 10 years, that speaks Chinese, set up manufacturing all my companies, has an inventory system, and that would have advised me. Absolutely not. That's a horrible decision, right? I didn't have the CFO in place to say, absolutely not. I had a bookkeeper. And so what I learned about that, in this game of entrepreneurship, it's like building a professional team. You are the GM, and you got to put great people around you that know more than you. And stop putting people that are good people or good family members so they could practice on your business. That's what I learned from that mistake. And that was one of the biggest mistakes that I made.
Don't hire people that are going to practice on your business. That's a takeaway, because I think a lot of us want to grow. I think someone said earlier, it might have been Chris, might have been Lewis, like you want to have a vehicle that you're going to be happy in, right? And a lot of times it's going to be your friends, your family, who you went to high school with. You want to grow something together. We see LeBron and Maverick and Ron Paul doing things together. It's like, I want something like that too. I want us all to win. But yeah, it might not always be the best route for you in your business. So I think that's a great answer. Thanks, Chris. I want to be mindful of our time. We are at 7:03, so we're past the hour. I did want to check in with the panelists because there's too many great questions here. I want to see if maybe we could take one or two more, and that way folks can get a couple of more insights before they leave. Is that cool?
Good.
Yeah, that sounds good, Brian. I just want to make a point about
cool.
LeBron James.
All right.
Just,
Let's get it.
Perspective.
All right, Candace, you got it.
Wait, you got
Mobi. Yeah.
Oh, no, I just wanted to make a point from the athlete perspective, because you mentioned LeBron James and, you don't let friends and family practice on your business. Maverick Carter, Rich Paul, they did, they practiced on other businesses before they came to LeBron James. Maverick Carter did an internship with Nike. Rich Paul, he worked with CAA. So they got the homework, they got the practice somewhere else and took that experience and applied it to, bringing it with the family. So just wanted to point that out.
all right. I have a personal question really quick. So how do you transition your side hustle into your main hustle smoothly? You know what I'm saying? Well, as smooth as can be expected, but you go from that, oh, this was a nice hobby, and oh shit, snap, I'm good at it. And then you're like, oh, bet, I want to make this my main. What's that transition?
Well, I think it's like earlier what I was saying is that you do them both. And something that has to give is that leisure time to do them both until it exceeds what you're currently doing. And so that's the way to do it. And I don't know if you're talking about businesses, right? So it's the same thing in business. Like now I have multiple companies, but like I said, you got to throw your whole self at something, put a team in place so you can start working on that other business. That's another mistake that I made is like, we're creative people. We got so much energy that we sometimes extract that to do both. Do this one and don't go, and sacrifice leisure to do the other and then move after that's successful. So I think that's, like what I said earlier.
Okay, I got some more. Thank you for that. What do you do outside of your main income generator? Oh, wait. Who asked that one? Sean, what was that one? What do you do outside of your main income generator?
I asked, what do you do outside of your main income generator? Like, what are your hobbies and interests? Like, what is, I know Chris has been saying like, revoke your leisure for your practice, but like, what do you do for fun? Like, what is your stress reliever? What is that thing that's always interests you? Your hobby or your interest? Not the one you profit off of, not your main, but like, what's the thing that like you enjoy to do?
I think for me, that's the magic, man. I think was what Nassim was alluding to is I love doing business, man. Like I love that. I love coaching basketball. I love providing for my family. I love to make them feel special, feel valued. Like I really love that, man. I love cars. And I just enjoy life, man. Life is good, so that's for me. What about you, Lewis?
So that's actually a great question. And the challenge when you're throwing yourself at something, it actually consumes you, right? And it makes you happy on some days, it makes you sad on others. And so for me, my brain never stops going, especially when new opportunities or my prior roles. So whenever I need to disconnect, it was either read books or binge watch something on TV. And then what's always been there for me, and why I got these headphones, is just my love of music. So I'm always listening to music, and it levels me out, but it also inspires me to give me energy to keep working. I had to stop coaching because it drove me crazy.
So I would say, I had this problem too. Like everything was like a business opportunity. My siblings, my sister, she likes to thrift, and I was like, you know what you could do? You can take these and sell it. And my little brother, so I had to like calm down. So for me, like my hobbies, I guess I like to golf, even though I'm not really good. I like to read. I like to cook. So and I know Brian mentioned earlier in the profile, like hosting trivia nights, so bringing people together. When COVID wasn't around, and just, cook a nice meal, have people together, host game nights, and binge watch a TV show. Really big on mafia, mob type shows. Snowfall just came out, so highly recommended. But yeah, that's it.
We have another question. Work-life balance. So, tips on saying yes to opportunities that might make your life more difficult at home, job opportunities, stuff like that. How it's overall work-life balance.
What work-life balance? What?
Right. What is it? What is it?
What's that? What's that?
Look, yeah, no. I actually was peeping out Corey's kind of comment on the saying yes thing, and look, that's a balance, right? So yeah, you say yes to stuff in business, you say yes to opportunity, but if it's not good for your family, and you have a family, they always have to come first. Sit down and have that conversation. Before I started with NVIDIA, I actually interviewed over in the UAE to work on the innovation squad over there. And I sat down with the family like, hey, you guys want to move there? Because if you don't, I'm gonna be gone for a year. and just to see, how my 16-year-old would act, how my 17-year-old would act, just to have a better understanding on, kind of where they were, lockdown during COVID. It's not like they're hanging out with their friends. It's not like whatever. So you can't say yes to everything. But, you also, now I'm at a point where you got to set expectations at work as well. Right. And, people know now that more than likely I'm not answering an email after 7 o'clock. So don't call me on my work phone, don't email me and expect an answer right away. There was a point in time where you'd see me up at 2 o'clock in the morning responding to emails, and that's just not healthy. So you got to set boundaries for yourself and for the people around you, so that you can actually find a little bit more work-life balance.
Yeah, so I'm a big proponent of, if it doesn't get scheduled, it doesn't get done. So I'm really big on systems and processes. I think that's just something that I've learned from successful people. It's like 15 minutes in and out. We don't need 30-minute meetings. We don't need hour meetings to catch up. Like, they're in and out. So I've tried to, apply it. I'm not big time enough to have like an assistant and stuff. So I use Calendly, Google Calendar and stuff like that to make sure. And then I'm really big on time blocking. So, I set certain, days for certain tasks or certain hours for, prioritizing different things. And that's helped me, stay even keel when it comes to work-life balance. But at the end of the day, it comes down to sacrifice, because there's so many, I don't want to say distractions, but we can at the end of the day be like, nah, today I'm gonna just sit down and not do what I want to do. But those are some of the tricks that I've been able to apply, and they've been helpful for me.
For me, as far as work-life balance, it's similar but a little different. I remember after I got off Shark Tank, and I was like, man, I really got something here. And we had a family meeting, and I told my wife and kids, like, hey, I'm gone to November. I really got to hit this thing. This is something, it was one of the hardest. I've been coaching my son since he was 3 years old. I had to give up coaching him. Man, that kind of make me emotional saying that, man. That was tough. I had to give up coaching him. And I'm like a dad's dad. I got 2 boys, 2 girls. I'm a dad's dad. I love being a dad and a husband. That's like first and foremost. But I knew I had something. And I said, I got to throw my world at this. So I said, this is what daddy's going after. So I showed them my vision of what I wanted to do. I showed them the vision of our home and the backyard with the pool and the playground for Jada. I showed them that, I told them that I want to be able to have this amount of wealth to be able to do these things. And I said, what do you guys want? And so when you put your family in your vision, and everybody had to go, and it became very personal for me to achieve it. My wife's talked about what she wants, and she doesn't want anything. She just want us in the family. Like, all right, cool. What else though? What else? And I went all the way down to Chris, Joe, Chloe, and Jane. That all empowered me of like, all right, I'm gone. And I committed myself, because one of the things that was in my championship to make this sacrifice is that I wanted to own my time. So many people don't own their time, man. I don't want to ask anybody to take a vacation. I don't want to ask anybody, and I don't want to be beholden to not having enough to go somewhere. I want to own my time. I want to go where I want, with who I want, when I want. And I couldn't do that at that time. And so that was a sacrifice. It was ironically to not have to think about balance. That if I want to leave and go, I want to be able to do that. I see that, and that's what I worked so hard for. And it worked. Now, and during that time, so that was a sacrifice. But in the time that I was making that sacrifice, I was intentional with loving on my girls, eat one by one, taking them to date nights, not just take time where we're just watching TV, but I was really intentional of making sure that when I was making that sacrifice, the time that I did share was super meaningful. And now it worked. It was like a 2 to 3 year sacrifice. And now I'm back to coaching. Now I'm in my SoCal home with my wife and like, hey, we relaxing while the kids is back. And then I'm going doing this with Jada. Like I'm able to do those things. And now it's more freedom of time. Does that make sense? So it's not more balance. It's just, if I want to grind, if I want to work tomorrow, I will. If I want to just hang out at the beach, I want to do that. For me, it was the freedom of time versus having a balance. And it all is predicated on what I'm going after and what the time requires. And so that was one of the things where I was really intentional about that.
Wow. Thank you guys all for those answers. I hope that you guys got a lot from this first speaker series. We're probably going to do more of these because I think that I learned a lot from this. I know Brian did too, but I saw a lot of you guys taking notes. So I hope you guys got a lot from this. Now, thank you guys, the panelists. Thank you. If you guys want to stick around, because me and Brian are going to be here just networking and talking to everybody here, you guys can. But if you guys want to, and everyone in the audience, you can look these guys up on LinkedIn or social media. And if I don't know how people can reach out to you guys, so you guys want to let people know how they can potentially reach out if you want them to, you can let them know that here right now.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, we'll start, Chris.
I'm not big on social media, man, but I'll try to check it.
You're impossible to find on social media, Chris.
Is I am the most energetic introvert. I'm so private, man, except when I do these speaking engagements. But anyways, Instagram at Chris Johnson Biz. And I think the Facebook is the same. I haven't been on that in a while, but and then LinkedIn, you can hit me on LinkedIn. And and I guess just closing words, man, I really hope that everybody got a lot of value from this. Louis, Mobi, thank you guys, man. I got a lot of value from the things that you guys provided. Nasima, Brian, Candace, thank you for coordinating this. And at the end of the day, we're blessed to be a blessing. And so, I'm blessed from this, and I hope everybody else got some nuggets and we're blessed as well. So thank you.
Good. I just put my stuff in the chat. You can find me at Meet Mr. Stewart on most platforms, website too. Just hit me up. Don't email me. I respond better on Twitter and on LinkedIn. just letting you guys know.
Yeah.
I actually tell people at work that too. Don't email me. Just text me because they all have my phone number. So, but yeah, it's been an honor to be here with you guys. And yeah, don't look for Chris on social media. He's not able to be found.
Yeah, I shared my information in the chat as well. Adam Mobi says Instagram, Twitter. Yeah, I'm really active on there, and then LinkedIn as well. So it's been a great pleasure to be in the same discussion with Chris Johnson and Louis Stewart, both OGs in the Sacramento community. Known about them for quite some time. So Nasima, Brian, thank you for putting this together. Candace and Brian's sister with Minnie, right? Did I say her name right? Mina, sorry. Yeah, so it's cool to see an all Black discussion. So I love what you guys done. And keep it going. I'm excited for you guys to continue.
Yeah, no doubt.
Hey, one more thing, Brian. I want to also mention this. If someone out there right now, the deal that I have with Amazon, it's we're starting with Prime, and it's for Black businesses. They want to have the solidarity with the Black community and not just have it on their banner ad. They want to do it with dollars. And so we've already have 10 Black food brands that I've been able to bring to Amazon. So if you or someone has a food brand and they're retail ready, please contact me and I can have you be a part of this opportunity. Retail ready means that you already have packaging, you already have a warehouse that you can ship out to Amazon. So if you know, or any of your family members or friends know, and would like an opportunity to build their business, it's a huge opportunity, and I'm happy to assist them with that.
That's one of those open doors that somebody should walk through. Just saying.
Yeah, this is a big opportunity. So folks who are on, definitely reach out to Chris for that opportunity, and for Lewis and Mobi providing their socials. Twitter, definitely don't sleep on that. DM them if you guys have additional questions. Everybody's super giving with the information and willing to see, like Lewis and Mobi and even Chris said earlier, like seeing other people's develop, and that in and of itself is success for them. So make sure y'all reach out. So make sure y'all, so everybody knows we have a podcast. We don't know yet podcast. We're going to do a lot more of these speaker series, but the purpose of this is to like talk to people one-on-one. So y'all not just listening to it via, Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can actually interact with the folks that we bring on. So I want to thank the three of you again for being here. And feel free to stay on if y'all want to recap, because there's a lot of notes I got. So I'm trying to talk to somebody. So make sure y'all stick around. Panelists, if y'all want to stick around, feel free. But I want to hear what y'all think. What was y'all thoughts? What were y'all thought process? What are y'all going to apply? What are y'all thinking right now? So if you can't unmute, let us know and we'll be able to unmute you. But you could be able to speak freely at this point.
Wow, this was a fantastic presentation you guys all put together. Bravo to y'all, you and your team, and all the panelists on there talking. That was definitely something insightful, because I know a lot of people on here have a lot of doubts, including myself, because I do have a plethora of business ideas that I never make them come to life. I have some of them, but definitely a lot, just hearing y'all talk about your successes, especially, you got, I think it's Anobi, is that correct? If I'm correct, with his, dealings with the Nigerian parents. I am Nigerian myself, so I already know how that goes. And then Chris talking about, his journey just in entrepreneurship, and then also Stewart as well. So it's definitely enlightening just hearing other people that have, had their shortcomings, that had their doubts, but definitely pushed through to make things, work, and, and sharing their knowledge. Because a lot of people don't like to share those little gems, out there. They kind of like try to keep it till they get to their graves and stuff. So definitely appreciate y'all sharing that as well. So that was definitely insightful and enlightening just to hear y'all speak. And I'm definitely happy to get on this Zoom call, because I almost missed it, because I was trying to figure out how do you get on this thing. But I was able to grind through and find out how to get on this. So definitely thank you all for definitely sharing your knowledge.
All right, I know y'all got something. I think the biggest thing for me was thinking about leisure, right? And like how to, because I think sometimes it's kind of hard, right? When you're thinking about how do I make even my free time productive? And, am I reading when I'm not, working? Am I doing this? Am I doing that? But I think what Chris said earlier about like, how do you involve your people, your family, your friends into your vision? Obviously, that's got to be a small circle. That's a period. It's just like 4 or 5 people, that's 6, 7 people. That's like, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. And how do we do that together? How do we have fun together? How do we push forward in a very productive manner? So I thought that was really key.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, I know a lot of individuals who are interested in starting something, but when you look at exactly what they're doing on a day-to-day basis, a lot of that time is wasted with what you call just like time wasting or leisure activities. And it's like, it takes a lot to hone in on what you're trying to do and really take an honest look at how you're spending your time, and to cut back on stuff that you would think is usually fun or that you really, you like doing, but is doing absolutely nothing for you. So like on the same thing, we're on the same wavelength here. That thing that stuck to me. So yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, for myself, it's all about time. So that definitely resonates for me, just being a new dad. This is like right when she was born, the main thing that that kind of stood out to me was like, wow, I want to spend every not necessarily like waking moment with her, but have the option to, just like Mr. Johnson said about if I want to go out and just spend a day with her, I can. If I want to go out and just tend to the business or whatever the opportunity is that's present for the day, I can pursue that. Whatever it is, I have the option to do that.